you've never checked out Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins' podcast all about wrestling collectibles, or shall I say specifically wrestling action figures, I tell you right now you should do it, because if you're into all that shenanigans stuff, you will go through what he has and be like, my word, how the hell did he get his hands on that? It's because Zack Ryder is a collector and he will go out of his way to get whatever the hell he wants. He even has that rare Macho Man. And the reason I bring this up today is because a lot of wrestling memorabilia and collectibles is slowly turning up in the strangest of places, which begs the question, what the hell is going on? It also begs the question, how do I get my hands on some of this stuff? It would make me very happy. But fueled forward by a recent Instagram post by a certain someone that we will talk about in just 1 second, this is the 10 strangest places WWE props have turned up. Number 10, Steve Austin's boots are with Jim Ross. Any wrestling fan worth their salt knows that Stone Cold Steve Austin and Jim Ross are the best of friends. I mean, if it wasn't for good old JR, Vince McMahon and the Rattlesnake may never have made up. And if you don't know about the time Stone Cold walked out of the WWE, what are you doing? You have a load of wrestling education to go fill up in your brain. Thankfully, though, they were able to mend this fence, even though at WrestleMania 19, when Steve Austin did take on The Rock, it would very sadly turn out to be his last match. But think about that as well. That was WrestleMania 19. We've just had WrestleMania 36, and Stone Cold has never returned to the ring for an official fight. That is what you call willpower, and that is what you call the antithesis of every other single wrestler who has ever retired. At the time, though, we didn't know that this was going to be Steve Austin's last match, which came as somewhat of a surprise, unless your name was Jim Ross. I mean, JR's also come out and said he wasn't sure, but he kind of got a good idea because after the fact, the Rattlesnake walked up to him and he gave him the wrestling boots from that match against the Great One all those years ago. And what a piece of memorabilia that is to have in your collection. Someone just walks into your house and like, well, I got some boots on your mantelpiece, and then you go, you should take that look off your face. They belong to someone who drew more money than you could ever dream of. That's a story right there. Jim Ross, I will buy them from you. I have around about £5. Number 9, Shawn Michaels' hair in Jim Cornette's ex-wife's house. Okay, so look, back in June 1997, Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels had a proper backstage fight. These two didn't like each other, they both thought they were ass clowns, so eventually they came to blows, and somebody that was very close to this situation, because they too were working backstage, was one Jim Cornette. So in an interview with Kayfabe Commentaries, well, I'm just going to read you the transcript because I don't think I can do it justice. All right, I'm not going to do a Jim Cornette accent because I'll sound like an idiot, but he said, I go to Vince's office and I said, Vince, apparently Shawn and Bret have just had a shoot in the locker room. That means a real fight. And as soon as I said that, the door busts open and here comes Michaels cutting a flubbing promo, and he's got a handful of his own hair. I swear, it looked like a small squirrel or a possum or whatever. The sight of him holding his hair, I was laughing. He throws the hair on the floor and storms out, and Vince goes and follow him. I looked down at the flubbing hunk of hair and I picked that up and I stuck it in a paper bag and I took it home. And he has got on record as saying that his ex-wife has kept it in a bag, but of course it's his ex-wife, so now they've split up. So somewhere on this planet is a clump of Shawn Michaels' hair just laying in a bag. Hands up who thinks wrestling is really, really strange. Number 8, the FMW barbed wire baseball bat. And it's another entry where I will just read the actual words of the person involved because I can't do a better job of the things that have come out of my mouth. But you may have heard of a band called, well, I can't say the word, but the PG version would be Flubbed Up. I'm sure you can figure it out. But one of the people in that band, named Damian Abraham, well, he has quite a crazy story about a time he went to Japan and got involved with some wrestling. Because he said during an interview, last year I got to make this TV show about pro wrestling. I went to Japan and I brought this back. It was in my checked luggage. I remember walking through Narita Airport with that in my bag just thinking, what am I going to say if they call me on this thing? It's an FMW barbed wire baseball bat that was actually used in a couple of matches. I got it signed by Antonio Inoki when we were filming with him, and he's like Japanese Ric Flair. You don't need to tell us that, we know, for goodness sake. I got it at a store that is kind of like a wrestling museum, but everything is for sale. Incredible relics. I spent a lot of money on it and smuggled it back to Canada. It is covered in blood, but the blood is not mine. He was, of course, talking about the Vice series known as The Wrestlers, And I can't even get like plastic wrestling belts through customs without someone going crazy. And yet here's this dude rocking through with a baseball bat covered in blood. Somebody explain that one to me. Number 7, KANE'S mask is in Bruce Prichard's house. All right, let's just call a spade a spade. Let's get down and dirty and talk about the big red machine Kane, because when he debuted in 1997, he was one of the best characters WWE has ever thrown into its crazy carnival of mad things. And then by like 2001, when he was going fuck it, using a voice box, I was a very sad chap, like the Undertaker all over again. I loved the Dead Man, I couldn't accept the American Badass, and I loved the original Kane, and I couldn't accept that was ridiculous. And another person who is also a big fan of the real-life Glenn Jacobs is Bruce Prichard, who of course is a producer in the world of WWE, and he likes him so much, he actually has the Kane mask in his house. He revealed this on his podcast. A few people are like, that's not true, Bruce Prichard, you've made it up. So you know what he did? He actually tweeted it out, and there it is. That just lives in Bruce Prichard's house, and if you don't understand it, it would be really bizarre. But if you do, like I do, I'm a little bit jealous. I mean, not only would I have it pride and place, but I would wear that thing on every single video. And I tell you what I wouldn't do, I wouldn't take it off and take my character in a crazy direction. To be fair, that was the right move. There was really nothing else you could have done with the persona at that point, but it doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Number 6, the Macho Man Randy Savage's Raw Rumble 1993 gear is in the Pro Wrestling Tees store. Randy Savage didn't have the best Raw Rumble in 1993 because halfway through, he tried to pin someone forgetting that he was in the Royal Rumble, but I forgive him for this because I can see myself doing something similar because I am an absolute moron. It got even worse for Mr. Savage because Yokozuna, the man he was trying to pin, then just kind of gorilla pressed him over the top rope, meaning he was eliminated from the Rumble. But just look at the Macho Man there. Doesn't he look fabulous? He absolutely does. I miss this kind of attire. Interestingly though, Savage never wore this on television again, so where the hell did it go? I don't know, but I know where it ended up, and that was at the Pro Wrestling Tees store in Chicago, Illinois. And the reason I know this is A, they talk about it a lot on their website, but B, I've been to the Pro Wrestling Tees store and I've actually touched this with my own hand. I'm a wrestling nerd, and that's just something I wanted to do. Given how badass his threads were though, there really should just be a museum dedicated to Macho Man attire, and maybe you and I can go into business together and we can make that happen. Before even WWE has an official or like a real Hall of Fame, we can have the Macho Man attire place of fun. Number 5, Randy Savage's WCW gear is with his wedding photographer. Now this is a very strange story with a very strange ending, but we do have to start talking about the television porn stars, which you may have seen on your telly box. It's basically where people have things they want to sell and they go flog them off. And the man in question on this particular episode is a dude who was Randy Savage's official wedding photographer to the person he got married to shortly before his tragic death in 2011. When that did happen, I suppose this guy wanted some kind of memento to remember Randy Savage, who by all accounts was a very nice man, and they came out with this. They said, here, you can have his old WCW gear. Now I would cherish that if I happened to be that human being, but I'm not. So instead, this guy went on to Pawn Stars and sold it off, which again is just odd and doesn't seem like a very moral thing to do, but that's what happened. So now you know what happened to that piece of clothing. Number 4, Paul Bearer's Hall of Fame ring is with a family friend. We go back to Pawn Stars, and once again it's just a tale that's very hard to stomach, because I don't understand why we're taking these very precious trinkets and just throwing them away. I get that we can fall on hard times, shout out to Dusty Rhodes, and finances are massively important, but it's just lost on me. But here, a man named Bryce, who was a friend of the family of Paul Bearer, is shown on the show trying to get rid of this Hall of Fame ring that did belong to the Undertaker's manager. And the really hard thing to stomach here is that all the hosts of the TV show just treat wrestling like it's a pile of crap, like, what a it's fake. My kids used to, well, we all know it's fake. Stop being that guy. Why can't we just enjoy what we want to enjoy? Treat it with some damn respect. The worst part is that everybody involved just bickers over how much it's actually worth, and I understand that's the whole point of the show. That's why people tuned in, but it just feels like a punch in the stomach, especially because Paul Bearer was a legend, and when he did get inducted into the Hall of Fame, it was damn well deserved. But there you go, now you know where his Hall of Fame ring went. It's just quite sad. Number 3, a seat from WrestleMania 3 is in Hulk Hogan's beat shop. 93,173 is a number that will forever live in infamy when we're talking about WWE, because it's a number that we all argue over when it comes to how many people were actually in attendance at WrestleMania 3. And I'm going to let you know where I stand on this. I couldn't give two hoots, whether it's 72,000 or 93,000. I just hope everyone had a really nice time. And really, who gives a damn, because whichever number you want to go with, that is a hell of a lot of people. And actually, if you go back and see the sheer crowd that attended the third WrestleMania, it still blows your brain, because it looks like an army about to attack the world. Unfortunately, the Pontiac Silverdome, which did indeed host WrestleMania 3, was torn down in 2017, but not before Hulk Hogan, who of course main evented the damn thing, against Andre the Giant, made a big fuss and said, look, I would like one of those seats for sentimental value. And he got one of those seats, and it now lives in his beach shop down in Florida. So if you're ever down there, you can go, and if the Hulks is around, you can say, hey, Mr. Balea, am I allowed to sit in that just so I can kind of feel like I was there? And he will go, no, brother, it's really special, and you'll ruin it with your ass. And who doesn't want that kind of experience? Number 2, Triple H's WrestleMania mask is with CM Punk. When Triple H came to the ring at WrestleMania 27, he had a skull mask on, so you would be within your right to think, well, I guess that now lives in Triple H's house. But no, CM Punk, who must have been doing a little bit of decorating recently, actually found it in his own abode and shared it with his Instagram followers recently, which was the inspiration for me to do this video right here. And also makes you go, why the hell does CM Punk have Triple H's WrestleMania mask? I mean, to be fair, it could be a replica from WWE shop, or just something that CM Punk saw lying around one day, so he popped in his pocket. The more interesting thing, of course, is this happened at WrestleMania 27, which was headlined by John Cena versus The Miz, which is one of the things that annoyed CM Punk so much that a few years later, he turned his back on WWE and has never gone back. For my money, I would guess that somebody probably gave this to Punk as a gift to be like, do you remember that guy you fell out with? Well, I bought you his mask as a little joke present. And again, you could buy them for a while. You can buy anything on WWE shop at one point or another, including a No One Is Meaner Than Tamina t-shirt, which I ordered once and then got lost in the mail. I mean, fair play to their customer service team. They paid me back within like 37 seconds, which I appreciated, but would have I appreciated it more than a No One Meaner Than Tamina t-shirt? No, I would not, because if you don't know, no one is meaner than Tamina. Number 1, every single Undertaker casket is in a warehouse in Stamford, Connecticut. The fabled WWE warehouse, which does just have a bunch of props in it from WWE's own history, sounds amazing, but one section is quite literally dedicated to every single casket The Undertaker has ever used on WWE TV. I mean, first off, why have we kept them all? And 2, why isn't it open to the public? Of course, some people have been into this storage facility in Stamford, Connecticut and seen it, and you can see a bunch of pictures of this right now. In fact, there's probably one up right there. That's how these kind of videos work. And if you're a massive wrestling nerd like me, you're damn right I want to go and see The Undertaker's caskets. I mean, do they have the one from the Royal Rumble 1998 that Kane set on fire? I have questions. But there's gold ones that tie into when he lost at WrestleMania to Brock Lesnar, double ones from when he took on the likes of Mark Henry and Yokozuna, and it's just the coolest but also weirdest thing you can possibly imagine. I mean, you could tell anybody this that doesn't like wrestling and they'd look at you like, yeah, you're a really odd guy, but to people like you and I, it's like the Holy Grail, and one day I'm gonna find a way to break in and take some of pictures by myself. In case that does happen, police, I didn't do it, it wasn't me, somebody else got those pictures and I bought them off them. It was completely by the law. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what kind of WWE props would you like to be able to see firsthand. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to What Culture Wrestling, then head over to whatculture.com, read yourself some articles, follow What Culture on Twitter, What Culture WWE, and watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for watching as always, and I will see you